He leaned back in the chair with the kind of composure only someone in complete control could possess. Sunlight poured through the large windows behind him, outlining his figure with an almost chilling elegance. A faint, knowing smile curved on his lips as he spoke. "You really love your sister, don't want to let her suffer any hurt." The question was soft, but behind it there was a dangerous edge. He wasn't asking for an answer. He was cornering her. His legs were crossed, hands resting lightly on his lap, the picture of calm authority. His silence now was louder than words. The weight of his question lingered in the air like a noose tightening slowly. Her lips trembled as she lowered her gaze, the emotion swirling inside her, threatening to spill out. Her eyes softened with a mix of pain and fierce protectiveness. Slowly she nodded, a silent surrender, a silent plea. "Mr. Beiming, she's still young, just less knowledgeable than others." Her voice grew softer, desperate. I will teach her well later on, please." On the other side of the room, the man's smirk deepened, amused by her helplessness. "Your taste is really not bad," he remarked casually, as if toying with her fear. The tension thickened. His fingers tapped lightly on the armrest, a quiet reminder that the power was in his hands, not hers. Her wide, anxious eyes looked up at him, searching for even the smallest sign of mercy, but all she found was cold amusement. In that quiet, suffocating moment, she realized just how much he enjoyed watching her bend. As the scene opens, we find a young woman standing still, her long pink hair cascading down her shoulders, slightly trembling. She wears a mustard yellow top paired with a black skirt that reveals a matching yellow accent underneath. Her hand is raised slightly, tense and unsure, as if she's just heard something that threw her off balance. The background blurs in a soft gradient, focusing all attention on her. A speech bubble appears, capturing her inner turmoil. What does he mean? The confusion is written all over her body language, subtle yet deeply emotional. She seems caught between fear and curiosity, clearly shaken by the words of someone off-panel. Suddenly, a hand reaches out from the edge of the frame, strong, assertive, grabbing her by the wrist. The impact is illustrated with sharp white lines bursting from the center of the action, emphasizing the intensity and surprise of the gesture. It's a moment that stops time for a second. The woman doesn't resist yet. Instead, there's a stillness, as if she's too shocked to pull away. This gesture marks a sudden turn, a shift from uncertainty to confrontation. Now face to face, the woman is pulled close to a tall man with dark, neatly styled hair and a composed yet intense expression. He sits calmly, almost arrogantly, in a high-backed chair while she leans toward him, visibly distressed. Her hands press against his chest, trying to maintain some distance, but their proximity says otherwise. Her eyes are wide with frustration and desperation as she demands answers. Her voice, captured in the speech bubble, trembles with emotion. "What do you want after all? Mr. Beiming, tell me your condition. If you want me to pay..." Her words hang in the air like a challenge, defiant yet pleading. Meanwhile, Mr. Beiming meets her gaze with a slight, unreadable smile, as though he's fully in control of the situation. The tension between them crackles, thick with unresolved emotions and unspoken truth. In a dimly lit office, the atmosphere grows heavy as a man in a navy blue suit sits on a leather couch, holding a woman tightly on his lap. Her pink hair cascades down as she leans into him, her expression unreadable. Her legs drape across his lap, indicating both vulnerability and the imbalance of power between them. There's no need for words in this moment. His grip on her waist and the intensity in his posture hint at a conversation loaded with tension and unspoken intentions. Now, facing each other more closely, the man gently but firmly lifts her chin, forcing her to meet his gaze. His tone is calm, but his words cut deep. 20 billion. How long do you think it will take you to pay all this money? His eyes search hers, not with concern, but with dominance. Behind him, sunlight streams through tall windows, contrasting sharply with the emotional darkness settling in between them. The woman stares back with worry and disbelief. The amount is staggering. The question is not just about money, it's about control. Overwhelmed, the woman pleads, "Give me some time. I will try to find a way to pay it." Her voice is desperate, clinging to any hope she might have left. But the man quickly dismisses her faint optimism with a chilling suggestion. "Which way do you think you will try to use? Or let me show you a way, okay?" He doesn't wait for an answer before delivering the final blow. "Become my woman until I get bored of you." His words are laced with authority and desire, turning her financial desperation into emotional bondage. The trap has been set, not just with money, but with manipulation. In a quiet, dimly lit room, a man gazes down at the young woman before him with the look of calm confidence, his eyes locked onto hers with a subtle but undeniable intensity. The woman sits nestled in his arms, her back turned to the viewer, revealing her long, pinkish hair cascading down. His expression is gentle, almost seductive, yet there's a possessive undertone that suggests he knows she can't easily escape from him. The close physical proximity between them creates an air of tension and vulnerability, leaving the woman seemingly caught in an emotional whirlwind. The scene shifts to a more emotionally charged moment. The young woman now sits alone, visibly distressed. Her large violet eyes are filled with anxiety, and her brows are furrowed in confusion and disbelief. Holding a hand to her chin, she mutters to herself, almost in protest, "No, even if I die, I don't want to either." Her inner conflict is clearly tormenting her, a mix of defiance and helplessness. The backdrop fades into dark tones, emphasizing her emotional turmoil and mental exhaustion as she struggles with the aftermath of what happened. Her thoughts echo louder now, laced with fear and disbelief. "Last night, just one night, he made me look like this. If he always does that every night, I would definitely die." These haunting words reveal the physical and emotional impact the man has on her, something overwhelming and possibly destructive. Then his voice cuts through the haze of her thoughts, chilling and calm. "If you want to die, it won't be so easy. The thing is, think carefully. If you die, my mood will not be good. Until then, your sister and your dad." His manipulative words are a thinly veiled threat, implying that if she harms herself, others she loves will suffer. It's a powerful moment, blending psychological pressure with emotional vulnerability, leaving the girl in a state of fear and submission. Under the soft lighting of the room, a moment of intense intimacy unfolds. The man, sharply dressed in a dark blue suit, exudes confidence and control. He gently lifts the woman's chin with his fingers, bringing her face closer to his. His eyes, cold yet mesmerizing, lock onto hers with a possessive intensity. The woman, dressed in a mustard yellow top, appears stunned, her wide eyes staring into his as if caught off guard. Her lips are slightly parted, as if unsure whether to speak or retreat. There's a strange tension in the air, hovering between desire and discomfort, as though this closeness is both thrilling and dangerous. The silence is suddenly shattered. The woman's expression turns from shock to fury. Her voice rises sharply, cutting through the air like a blade. "Bei Mingyi, you're truly a bastard!" She screams, her face contorted with anger and betrayal. The moment of forced closeness has turned sour, igniting a storm of emotion within her. She lifts her hand in a dramatic motion, the lines around her indicating movement, fast, aggressive, and filled with rage. It's a slap in the making, fueled by all the pent-up frustration and indignation boiling inside her. This is not a woman who will be toyed with. The tension reaches its peak. The woman, now fully enraged, yells at Bei Mingyi with unrestrained emotion. Her body is twisted toward him, her mouth open mid-shout, as she forcefully throws her arm forward. Her pink hair flows wildly behind her, echoing the motion of her slap. She's no longer frozen in fear or confusion. This is defiance. Her hand, just moments away from striking, is a declaration of resistance. Meanwhile, Bei Mingyi's hand is still lingering near her face, perhaps trying to stop her, or simply caught off guard by the sudden outburst. The scene is charged, raw, and powerful, a moment where control shifts dramatically. The air is tense. In an instant, a hand shoots forward, gripping the girl's delicate wrist tightly. The sound of the sudden movement cuts through the silence like a whip. She freezes. The force in his grip is firm, almost commanding. Bright streaks of motion blur around them, emphasizing the swiftness of the hold. His voice is low, but carries an unmistakable threat. "Don't be messy," he says, his eyes sharp and unyielding. "You should know, if you dare hit me today, you'll never know what kind of consequences your loved ones might face." Each word falls like a blade, slicing through the last bit of defiance she tries to muster. He leans closer, his expression twisting into a sly, confident smile. His hand remains clamped around her wrist as his cold gaze locks onto her. She looks small and cornered in front of him, as though every step she takes is already decided for her. His presence is overpowering, leaving no room to escape. A sharp command echoes through the room. "Bring it here." His tone is not a request. It's an order. Around them, the air seems to grow colder, heavy with an unspoken pressure. A man in a black suit kneels on one knee before him, holding out documents and a pen with both hands, his head lowered respectfully. The atmosphere is formal and tense. This is not a casual transaction. It's business, cold and absolute. The man in the suit reaches for the documents. His expression remains calm, almost indifferent. "It's fair to say," he begins slowly, his tone laced with a chilling confidence, "you made me lose 20 billion. Now I may not be so kind to your dear Shan sister." His hand presses down on the paper as the word "hold" resonates again, a reminder of who has the power here. He hands her the document and leans back in his chair like a king watching a subject kneel. "Read this covenant carefully," he warns, his voice low but full of mockery. "Otherwise, you'll think I'm bullying you again. An ordinary person would never get a price like this." His smirk is infuriating, as if he's savoring every second of her helplessness. She clutches the papers with trembling hands, her eyes widen in shock, her face growing pale as the weight of the words on the page sinks in. Her body shakes slightly, not from the cold, but from the fear and humiliation coursing through her veins. Her thoughts scream in disbelief. 10 million for a night? Does he really expect me to thank him for this? The number burns in her mind like fire. The injustice, the insult, the cruelty, all of it crashes down at once. The chandelier above glows softly, almost mockingly, as if the luxurious setting contrasts cruelly with the darkness in her heart. The world around her is opulent and cold, a golden cage where her choices have already been stripped away. From above, the scene is almost tranquil. But the reality beneath that calm surface is far from gentle. The man sits back on the sofa, his posture relaxed yet authoritative. The girl is seated on his lap, a paper trembling between her fingers. The world outside shines through the large glass windows, but inside, the air is thick with silent pressure. His hand rests possessively around her waist, as if reminding her that every choice she makes is already under his control. His grip tightens slightly, not enough to hurt, but strong enough to make his dominance unmistakable. Her knuckles turn white as she clinches the contract, her body tense, almost leaning forward, trapped between fight and surrender. She dares not meet his gaze. Her heart pounds as the weight of the situation presses down on her chest. His voice breaks the silence with a chilling casualness. 20 billion, he says, almost amused. It's not that I can't pay you, it's that you're not even qualified to ask for it. Dongling is my territory. And then, with a cruel softness, he adds, You don't have to pay, but think about your loved ones first. The threat is veiled, but unmistakable, like a blade hidden beneath silk. Tears glimmer in her eyes as they widen with a mix of fear and desperation. Her lashes tremble, and a single tear almost spills over. She wants to speak, to fight back, but her voice is caught in her throat. The room feels colder than before. He looks at her with that same calm, almost bored expression, as if discussing something trivial. You wanted my help. Because of that, I lost 20 billion in public. I'm a businessman. Losing capital, that's the one thing I never forgive. A smile, thin and sharp, curves on his lips. If you can't pay this 20 billion, he leans closer, his tone low and deliberate, then I'll let your relatives pay. So think carefully, little one. The words coil around her like chains, soft in sound, but impossible to break. She lowers her head, her long hair hiding her expression. Her shoulders tremble slightly. The proud fire in her seems dimmed, replaced by the helpless weight of her situation. She's cornered, not by walls, but by his power. Hey! A voice cuts through the tension. Her body stiffens as someone else enters the room. The man remains relaxed, almost amused, his arms still casually around her. Without a hint of concern, he tilts his head lazily and gives an order to the newcomer. Tell those guys we won't interfere in Shanshan's case anymore. They can do whatever they want. It has nothing to do with me. The decision, cruel and effortless, seals someone else's fate. The subordinate, dressed in black, bows respectfully with a firm "Yes, sir" in response. The order has been given, and like a domino falling, the consequences are already in motion. The man leans back in his chair, confident and untouchable. She sits beside him, small and silent, knowing that her life and the lives of those she loves are now dangling from a single thread he holds. The air between them grew taut like a drawn bowstring. Her hands pressed firmly against his chest, her voice breaking into a desperate cry. "Don't!" she shouted, her eyes wide with panic and defiance. For the first time, she dared to resist him openly. He didn't flinch, only narrowed his eyes slightly, his composed demeanor a chilling contrast to her trembling frame. Outside, the world was quiet, but inside, a storm was already raging. She turned, attempting to break free, but before she could take a step, his hand shot forward and caught her wrist. "Hold," he murmured coldly. His grip was strong, unyielding, and her momentum was abruptly stopped. The sudden pull sent a shiver down her spine. She felt trapped, like a bird caught mid-flight, wings clipped by invisible chains. The struggle only brought her closer. In one swift motion, he pulled her into his lap, his arm encircling her waist like an iron band. Her body stiffened, panic flashing in her eyes. His scent surrounded her, cold and overwhelming. She could hear his heartbeat, steady, calm, while hers thundered frantically in her chest. Panic, the word wasn't spoken aloud, but it hung heavy in the air, written all over her trembling frame. Somewhere beyond the door, a voice echoed urgently. "Call him come back! Call him come back! Quickly!" It was a distant cry, desperate and hurried, as if someone realized too late what had just happened behind those wooden doors. But the man had already stepped away, his tall figure disappearing through the half-open door. He carried a folder casually under one arm, as if the chaos he left behind was nothing more than a minor interruption in his schedule. The hallway swallowed him in silence. She could no longer hold herself up. Shaking, she leaned into him, her forehead pressing against his chest. "I agree with you," she whispered, her voice quivering. "I agree with you, The words tasted like defeat, falling heavy and bitter from her lips. She hated herself for saying them, but the weight of fear left her with no choice. A low chuckle escaped him as he looked down at her trembling form. "Who told you to be headstrong?" he taunted softly, his voice brushing against her like a blade in silk. "You even dared to think about hitting me?" His tone wasn't angry. It was amused, dangerous, cruel. Her fingers tightened against her own palms, nails biting into skin. Tears streamed down her cheeks in hot, silent trails. "No, I won't dare to do so anymore. I will always obey you from now on." It wasn't a promise. It was a surrender, a shattering of the last piece of pride she had clung to. He smiled then, a slow and cold curve of his lips. I don't believe the words from your mouth. Sign that contract, and I'll warn those guys immediately." The threat was clear, yet dressed in velvet. He wasn't asking, he was commanding. Her hand trembled as she took the pen. The paper beneath her seemed to burn through her soul. Every stroke of ink was another piece of her freedom being stripped away. "Yes, yes, yes," someone said faintly in the background. A phone call, perhaps. "Those photos definitely won't be spread out. We won't bother Shan anymore. Peace." But she knew there was no peace in this. Only a deal with the devil, who had already won. A sharp-looking man with dark purple hair and piercing violet eyes holds up a sleek black phone with a confident smile tugging at the corner of his lips. The emblem on the phone glints under the light, a symbol of power or secrecy, perhaps. His demeanor is calm, calculated, clearly someone in control of the situation. With poised assurance, he delivers his words. "You don't need to worry anymore. Peace of mind, sir." Off-screen, another voice responds without hesitation. "All right, you can be assured." The tone is serious. Something has just been set in motion, something that will not be easy to undo. The scene shifts to a young woman with long, flowing pink hair and shimmering purple eyes, now welling with tears. She clutches a thick blue folder to her chest as if it's the only thing anchoring her in this moment. Her golden yellow turtleneck stands in stark contrast to the sorrow clouding her face. The atmosphere is heavy, almost suffocating. She gazes ahead, not at someone, but into a future she can no longer avoid. Her thoughts are loud despite her silence. From now on, I can only... It's the kind of heartbreak that doesn't scream. It aches quietly, deeply, irrevocably. Her hands tightened around the folder, knuckles white from the force. The camera pans downward, revealing the fine details of her belt and the resolute stance she's trying to maintain, but her trembling fingers betray her. A white flash splits the panel, signaling a turning point. Her inner voice continues, with resolve building through the pain. Become. It's the moment right before transformation, the kind that's born from sorrow, the kind that changes someone forever.
Tears gently slide down from her closed eyes, shimmering like fragile crystals in the light. As they fall, they ripple across the water's surface, glowing faintly under a radiant beam of blue light. Her heart aches with the cruel truth. She has become nothing more than a toy that only obeys him. The sorrow of that realization weighs heavily, sinking into the depths like her fading hope. The scene shifts to the water itself, clear, endless, and glistening beneath the sunlight. Tiny sparkles dance across the surface, like fragments of forgotten dreams. The sea is calm, but beneath its beauty lies silence, the kind that hides loneliness, the kind that swallows pain whole. A luxurious yacht glides through the waves, its sleek body cutting through the blue expanse with effortless grace. On its deck, sunlight spills like liquid gold, and a white umbrella shades the lounging chairs below. Everything about the scene speaks of wealth and tranquility, yet the air feels heavy, as if serenity itself has turned hollow. A soft breeze flutters the striped sails above, stretching them against a sky painted with delicate hues of blue and white. The yacht drifts peacefully, but the tension between the two people aboard could still the wind itself. Under the shade of the sail, a young woman in a yellow dress sits quietly beside a man. Her head is bowed, her pink hair falling over her shoulders like a curtain of sorrow. The man, composed and expressionless, sits with his arms folded, his gaze steady, cool, and unreadable. Between them lies silence, so thick it could drown even the sound of the ocean. The girl lifts her eyes slightly, her violet pupils shimmering with confusion and unease. Her thoughts drift toward the man beside her. He kept it that way for an hour. Could it be, doesn't he feel tired legs? Her inner voice trembles between curiosity and fear, unsure of what kind of person could remain so composed for so long. Her hands tighten unconsciously on her lap, clutching the fabric of her yellow dress. The sunlight catches on the small heart and bow patterns scattered across the cloth, symbols of innocence that no longer match the turmoil in her heart. She forces herself to remain calm, even as her pulse races, trapped between obedience and the desperate wish to be free. Time drifts slowly beneath the warm sunlight. The girl, wearing a soft yellow dress and a straw hat, rests her chin thoughtfully on her hand. Her violet eyes narrow slightly in amusement as she watches him. Although it has been an hour, not a single fish has taken the bait, she muses inwardly. So there are still things he can't do after all. A faint smile plays on her lips, part teasing, part curious, as she continues to observe him. Without warning, his calm voice cuts through the gentle sound of the waves. "Come here," he commands firmly. Startled, the girl blinks, her body stiffening. "Sir?" she stammers, not sure what he means or what he wants from her this time. The serene atmosphere suddenly feels charged, as if the breeze itself has paused in anticipation. He doesn't turn to look at her. Instead, his broad back remains steady and composed as he adjusts the fishing rod in his hand.
The sunlight glints off his crisp white shirt, outlining the strength in his posture. The girl, still seated behind him, looks flustered, unsure whether to move or stay still, her heart thumping with a strange mixture of confusion and curiosity. His voice comes again, low but unmistakably firm. "Come here to fish with me." The words make her freeze for a heartbeat. Fishing? With him? Her lips part slightly in disbelief, her mind racing as she processes his unexpected invitation. "Ah!" She gasps softly, the surprise evident on her face. Her wide violet eyes shimmer with a mix of shock and hesitation. The sunlight reflects off them, turning them into two trembling gems. She looks at him, then at the fishing rod, unsure how to react. He actually wants me to join him. She wonders silently, feeling an unfamiliar warmth rise within her chest. Finally, she stands and approaches him, her yellow dress fluttering gently in the breeze. He sits relaxed and composed, a faint knowing smile curving his lips as she moves closer. Without looking up, he adjusts his grip on the fishing rod, calm, confident, as though this moment was inevitable. She stops beside him, close enough to hear the quiet rhythm of his breathing, her heart racing in time with the sea.